Welcome, everyone, to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, we're going to talk about Fidelity FX Super Resolution is heading to Xbox. So one of PC's best new technologies, AMD's second generation upscaling technology, Fidelity FX Super Resolution 2.0, is heading to Xbox. It's an upscaling technology. They basically already have this now with the 1.0. That's currently available for games such as like Back 4 Blood, God of War, and Deathloop on PC, right? And so now AMD is coming out with FSR 2.0, which is the Fidelity FX Super Resolution. And it's supposed to be a pretty big update for this super resolution technology. Basically, it is supposed to... The 2.0 is going to basically make a smoother image overall and make it more fast and responsive than the 1.0 version that they have now. But basically, the whole idea is it pretty much takes a game and can put it at a smaller resolution, and then it upscales it to a higher resolution, like 4K or something. Like it could take a 1080 picture and upscale it to 4K as an example. And make it look like it's in 4K natively, right? So it almost like everything, such as the details and everything like that, look like it's almost like a native 4K picture, yet it's actually running in 1080. It's just being upscaled by the technology. And that would help with performance, right? Because if we have, if the resolution is actually set lower, that helps with performance and things like that. And then this technology, this piece of software can utilize itself to bump up that resolution so it looks, doesn't look like a turd anymore, but it's still a turd on the back end. So so that's really cool. And this technology, which is currently on PCs, heading to the Xbox. So this is coming out, I think, relatively soon. And so I don't know when it's going to come to the Xbox, but there are plans already between Microsoft and Xbox, which AMD's in the newest generation consoles anyway. And so there have been announced plans between Microsoft and AMD to bring this technology over to Xbox. So we're going to go around and see what everybody thinks of this. How about you, Pat? What do you think?
More cool looking video games. I'm a graphics snob, so this is always good for me, right? I love it when I can look at a game and it looks crisp and sharp without affecting my performance, so I'm all for that. From what I was reading earlier is that supposedly all really what AMD is going to do is they're basically putting the developer kits out. So people have to develop for it. So as soon as game developers on the Xbox start developing with it, we'll get it. So it may be a couple of years down the road before we start seeing games come out with this technology, with the 2.0 technology, I should say. Some of them are probably already developing on the 1.0 and maybe they can upgrade. I don't know what that process looks like. I'm not a developer, so I don't know how that kind of stuff correlates. Can you just go from the older FSR 1.0 to the new 2.0 when you're working on your development cycles and stuff? We'll see. I mean, supposedly it's supposed to be faster than a lot of other anti-aliasing, aliasing technologies out there. It's supposed to be quicker and better. So who knows? I heard this was really designed for the RDNA stuff, but it supposedly works just as well on other platforms. I'm kind of, I'm a graphics snob, so I would love to see anything with enhanced graphics, especially if I can leave it at less than 4K and it perform and looks as good as 4K, I should say. I don't know about that. Looks can be deceiving in initial glance, so we'll see. I don't know. The Xboxes are powered by the RDNA 2 GPUs, right? So, I mean, that bodes well for them if they're saying that it actually works better with that type of GPUs and stuff like that. It's all promising, right? It sounds promising. It sounds like it's going to make things better. Currently, it's the next best thing, right? So what else is going to be the next best thing after this, Everybody's been talking about 8K forever, but we don't have 8K stuff right now. So, by the time we start getting 8K, they're going to be like, we got 16K coming up, guys. Be ready. And you're like, took us 8 years before we saw 8K. What's going on with that? Because we're still not fully there, right? We have TVs that don't support. You can buy a TV brand new off the shelf today that doesn't support 4K. You know, you can damn sure buy a TV today that doesn't support 8K. So, next thing we know, it's going to be, and this, it's all great and it's all great and all. And some of the, I don't know, maybe I'm getting too old or something, but in the screenshots that they shared in the articles, I'm like, can't really tell a difference there. Did you do anything? I'm like, what is, I guess I need to zoom in on each of the pictures and look at the, the graphics and all that kind of stuff and get a really good view, get a really good like eye on each of the pictures. I've not put that much attention to them in there. There's a difference in looking at an image that's, arm's length away from you on a small computer monitor than looking on something that's, like 10 feet away from you on a 65-inch TV in the living room. So, I'm all for making graphics, making things look better with less intensity on the GPU and stuff, so things just run better. So it sounds like it's going to be great. What do you think, Shane? You ready for some of this FSR 2.0?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't know what FSR, ZRT, whatever the hell all the words, initials you were throwing out there. But I do know I like the word smoother. Smoother in games is better in games. Yeah, from what my little mind grasped of this article, I love the ideal that my games are going to be better. That's all it comes down to for me. I like to look at my games simple. Better is better. Worse is worse. If this makes it better, that's better. That's it. It's very simple. I like the ideal of this. Now, I didn't see anything in the article about possibly coming to PlayStation at any point either now, because PlayStation runs the same stuff or similar. So would this be something that Sony could use? All right. So,
well, I guess the first question you'd have to ask yourself is what GPUs are in the PS5, right? So what is the PS5 GPU?
I thought it was the same one.
I think it is too. It's the RDNA 2.
It's just, there's, it's just customized or
right.
whatever.
So if it's an RDNA 2, I don't see why it can't come to PlayStation. There's nothing holding it back outside of maybe some architecture issues, or maybe we don't know. I don't know. Yeah, or just the PlayStation's already maxed out, and they're like, hey, we really don't want to introduce this new, or maybe they got to work through contracts with PlayStation to offer it in their dev kits or something,
That's quite possible. I mean, that might be why there's rumors going around about a PS5 Pro already. So, that could be it. But as far as this story goes, I'm just excited to have this. A prettier game, a smoother game, a better running game is always great for the gamer. So, it probably will take a few years, like you were saying, to get any games developed with it. So, I don't know how it all works. I don't know if you can update a game to have it or whatnot. But, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a tech guy. I just push start, die a lot. That's me and my gaming. So, what about you, Nick? I mean, you two are techies. I mean, you literally do this kind of crap. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool idea. And, this technology is already being used. I remember hearing about this a while back when it was first introduced, the AMD super resolution. And, at that time, it was very promising. And a lot of people were liking what they were seeing with this technology. So it sounds like so far this has been, a good step for AMD with this technology. And it seems to be working pretty well, implementing pretty well with them. And supposedly 2.0 is going to be, faster, stronger.
It's the bionic man.
Yes. It's going to be everything that you want it to be and more, but it's going to be a better alliteration. And it almost seems like 1.0 was kind of like the stepping stone to see how it would kind of take in and how that would be implemented and how it would work with everyone. And everyone seemed to like it. So this 2.0 is supposed to be quite the improvement from that.
Well, Pat, do you think, is that something that they might be able to back compat, do you think?
I would be almost like they'd have to take something and run back over it with the remaster brush,
Okay. Gotcha.
They basically say we're gonna polish it up, and instead of using the what was it, the TAA anti-aliasing, they're gonna go with this. They're gonna go with this new FSR 2.0 engine. It'd be like, I mean, it had to be some older games, I would imagine. And I don't know if any of the older games want to adopt this. I mean, maybe when we see Back for Blood remastered in 10 years, they'll use this or whatever the newest FSR technology is. But I don't see anybody going back. And I don't know. I don't do software development, so I don't know what game developer cycles look like if they can just go, okay, we're used to using the TAA anti-aliasing, and then come back and go, we're going to switch over to FSR 2.0 or whatever the current version is. So I don't know. I don't honestly, I mean, it's a way for somebody to remaster something that's old, right? If it takes something that looks bad, and not bad, just looks dated, and just can upscale it and make it look better, then, they could do it. It's just a matter of what that company wants to spend their money on to make their game look better.
Yeah. And the reason I kind of brought that up is, Nick is puppy sitting for me, and he popped on D2, which is one of my all-time favorite games. It's a Dreamcast game, and man, it looks great on his TV, but it does not look like my brain wants it to remember as it looked. He walked out into the snow area, and it was white. That's about the snowiest it looked. It was just the color white. So, I was thinking about that. Can they if they could back compat something like that? But it doesn't sound like it'd be that simple. Well,
I mean, there's competing technology. Yeah, there's competing technologies out there, right? Like NVIDIA has what? DLSS is what NVIDIA has, I believe, is what they have, and it's their AI. It's basically AI doing the same thing for them. It's their little version of this doing it. So DLSS, but that's been out. DLSS 2.0 has been out for a while. So I wonder if NVIDIA's about ready to roll out DLSS 3.0, Yeah, I mean, it's just maybe. NVIDIA. It's more of NVIDIA and AMD, duking it out for the best technology at this point,
Right. And that would make me wonder too, is like, if developers implement this, we talk about games coming out with native 4K and stuff like that. I mean, I wonder if this would be like, okay, we don't have to create our game in 4K. We can create it in, 980 or 1080 or something like that, and then use this upscaling technology so we can keep that. And again, I don't know how much the upscaler takes in performance, right, to cause this to happen. It doesn't seem like it uses a lot of resources. That's why it's better to do that than put it in a native 4K format. So I wonder if we'll go back to that kind of the olden days of the upscaling, where we're getting games that are 1080, let's say, at default, right? But they're being upscaled with this technology to 4K, so they look good still, right? Like Pat said, we'll have to see it for our own. They have pictures out there, but until you see it yourself, you're kind of skeptic. But if it does get close to that or look the same and you can't really tell, then that'd be kind of cool.
Here's a tech quote.
Like I was going to say, AMD has got kind of a captive audience in console gaming, right? I very highly doubt. I don't know for sure, but I very highly doubt that there's any video game development on the consoles that are using NVIDIA's DLSS. Because it's not an NVIDIA chipset, not an NVIDIA-based GPU. It's an AMD-based RDNA 2. So they kind of got a captive audience, and it seems like, if it's a better, smoother product for using for this, then why not use it? So even though people may not say this is really that great for consoles or a big deal for consoles, I mean, AMD's just got a captive audience here. This is probably better news for PC gaming than it is for Xbox, and even if it ever comes to PlayStation, it's probably a bigger deal for them, because from what I understand, you can convert DLSS technology. Like they have a process in place, from what I read in the article, that they have a support channel, I guess I should say, that can make these games work with FSR 2.0. From what I understand, back in the day, reading the DLSS technology was that it required quite an extensive setup and stuff to get running. So this sounds like it's much simpler. So maybe easier to adopt for developers.
So this upscales, so it'll take 1080p, it'll do an upscale to 4K. How does this, how does that, I mean, because I remember when PlayStation 4 era, they popped out the PS4 Pro and they were talking about checkerboarding. Is that along the same line? I mean, literally, I don't know this stuff, so I'm just kind of interested.
Well, yeah, you can't really think of calling it like 4K, right? It's not taking a 1080p image and upscaling it to 4K. It's taking a 1080p image and smoothing it so it looks like 4K, but it ain't 4K. You know, it's basically
it's a boob job. It's not real.
All right. So basically, it's just taking something and just enriching it, if you will. It's taking the, I don't know how else to explain this. It's trying to cram more pixels into a space than really it was designed to do, and it was done. And so they have, I mean, TVs themselves do some bit of upscaling, back in they still do some bit of image upscaling, or else your images would just look completely faded or washed out sometimes. If you got a huge TV that says it's native, its resolution set at 4K, but you're running a 1080p, there's a little bit of some upscaling that can happen there to smooth it out. And so, like I said, there's just different technology on how they upscale. And I really wouldn't say it basically takes a 1080p and makes it 4K. I would never say that because that's just the way it doesn't work. It just makes that 1080p image look crisper and cleaner.
Right. Makes it look like it maybe to somebody that, that it could be a 4K image, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's not. It's still a 1080p image. It's just
so
nice
it's just
and
a
crispy.
Dirty lie. It's just a dirty lie.
It's a facade.
A facade. Why, Carlton, it's a facade. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds neat. As long as my games look good and run good, I'm just happy. And if they can use it to make me happy, then by all means.
I mean, we all say we want 4K and the best looking experience ever, but I am sorry, even me as a graphics snob, I turn to 4K and go, ooh, pretty, cool. Oh my God, it's running like freaking hot garbage. I'm turning back over to performance mode. I mean, I say that because I can't stand it when I'm playing and it looks amazing, but it graphically runs like freaking for running through cold molasses, You're just like, nope, can't play this. Need to go back to performance mode. So as much as I love my graphics, I still will not play on graphic fidelity mode if it performs like trash.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Everything, especially since I bought this new TV, I run everything at performance. If I can get that 120, I go with that because to me, it just looks better if it runs better. So,
yeah, I run everything in performance mode as well. I can't, playing these newer games now that offer 60 frames per second modes or higher. Like I can't 30 frames. I'm like, my God, this is so, it's like Gumby motion, It's not quite that bad, but still it's bad. So if I could have something that's, something like this technology that can make it look really good, but keep that performance, and have a better performance, but still have that visual style where I'm not being, because, in right now, what they're doing with performance modes and graphics modes is, graphics modes are 30 frames and you're getting like a 4K native or something close to that, right? Whereas performance modes is 60 frames, but you're getting your resolution's probably at like 1080 or maybe a little higher or something. And that's where it stops at. So if I can have something that takes that, it's not putting it at 4K like we said, but it makes it look 4K. Makes it have almost the graphical fidelity of the graphics mode, but I have the 60 frames per second or higher of the performance mode, then I'd rather do that because I'm going to play that game on performance mode anyway. So if I can have something in the background making my resolution better, or at least look better, I'm all for it. So,
right, yeah, and you just have to understand. All these are just terms and ways to confuse everybody because there's a difference when you're talking like 4K. There's a physical resolution versus the optical resolution. And that's all we're talking about. We're not talking about, anything other than a 4K physical TV screen, you're taking a 1080p image. If you were to display it on that 4K image, would only fit a chunk majority of the screen. So they're doing like an upscaling to make it bigger, fill in the pixels and fill in the voids and make sure things don't look like I just took a single pixel and stretched it out, whatever it is, 13% larger, 11% larger. So it doesn't, that's what they're doing. So it's all just there's so many buzzwords. It's hard to keep all of it straight at times,
I don't get all that acronyms and initials. I mean, the first time I saw OMW, I thought Nick was insulting me, calling me old man wiener or something, but I don't get it.
I was.
You said you were on your way, you bastard.
Oh, well, it meant both things. Yeah, so it'll be like Patrick said, developers should be getting these kits soon, or supposedly soonish, and they'll start developing games for them. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays into future games that come out on Xbox and where this technology plays into all that. And we'll just have to see it when it comes out. And we know that these games do offer that functionality and how they look and stuff like that. But do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with this?
No more acronyms.
All right. Well, there's more acronyms to come. Let us know down in the comments below. What do you think of FSR 2.0? Are you familiar with the super resolution Fidelity FX that AMD has? Does that sound cool to you? Do you use it now on PC? There are some PC games that already utilize it. Like I said, Back 4 Blood and Deathloop does, and God of War does as well. It uses the 1.0 technology. So, what do you think of that? Have you experienced it yourself? Play those games on PC, and what do you think of the super resolution option? Let us know what you think down below. But thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with everything we do. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.